But so you watched all 3 episodes?
All 3 episodes. I watched the final one this evening, and this afternoon, I woke my husband up at the very end because I was shouting at the TV. And I don't usually do that, but the last part of the 3rd episode was a cliffhanger. The last time I was shouting at TV like that at the end of a TV show was during Breaking Bad when they were robbing the train.
Oh, yeah.
The chemical they needed. That was it. That was the only other time in the last 5 or 6 years.
How do you feel about those last few minutes? I have my own. My husband's never watched Handmaid's Tale until now. He actually watched all 3 episodes with me.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, what are they doing? Why don't they just do this? And I'm like, I know. So what did you think about it? Like the whole train scene?
I had a feeling somebody was going to get smushed because they were just too far away and they were coming on. I had a feeling that it was going to be either I live free or I die. And it was just so sudden. And Janine and I want to say Offred, but that's not
I
it.
know. And what is her new? I can never remember the new commander because did she ever even see him, or she just got posted of Joseph
of Joseph?
I don't remember the new one.
Joseph.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember if that was another character, but yeah, June. Isn't that weird?
June.
Like we forget her real name. That's how good the series is, and I'm sure the book to make you. They didn't ever say her name in the book, though, did they? Or people just kind of.
I think they did say her name at one point.
Yeah.
When there was some portions in the book where it was way back, way in the future, and they were reading Offred's diary and said, "We believe this person is June so and so, June Osborne," and I think that's what they did in the book, if I remember. It's been probably 6 months or so since I read it. I also read the one after it. She actually wrote a sequel to it, far into the future.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. And it's pretty interesting because it looks at what happens to Hannah and to the new baby. I can't think of her name right now either. Because
she has 2 names. Is it Nicole? Yes. But I don't remember what her first name is. I guess her real name is Nicole, since June said call her Nicole.
Right. It's about Hannah and Nicole.
Oh, and I'm sorry. There's Aaron sitting there. Hi. I don't know how long you were sitting there.
Oh, I just got here like a minute ago. Don't worry. That's all. Hey, Suzanne.
Yay. Hey, Aaron.
Hey.
Thank you guys so much for being here. This is just really cool. And I'm excited when you both said that you liked it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I like you and you like something I like. Yay.
Oh my, I love The Handmaid's Tale. I didn't even know that the new season came out. And then when you were talking about the stream, I'm like, it's out? So I binge watched. I'm all caught up now after today. So.
Well, they did release all 3 episodes the first night.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know. Right. Have they done that before? Where they've done?
They did that season 1. I don't know about the other seasons because I had a hard time getting season 2 and season 3 here. I finally had to go the pirating route in order to see.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, and I didn't see them in order, so that was kind of odd. So I had to go back and rewatch everything in order later.
Yeah. Sometimes I still don't. There's so much in them that I don't remember everything. I was just talking to myself when I first started this, and I had pulled up a couple tabs on Google because I was these 3 episodes. There's like so much that I'm like, okay, wait a minute, what happened in the first episode again? I just watched it yesterday, but I remember, but I don't remember, if that makes sense.
I have to do that too. I watched episode 2 twice because there were parts of it that didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
That I had to actually go back and rewatch.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now because like I was following like the first episode and everything, but then like after she was caught, because wasn't she having a discussion where they were like trying to get caught on purpose, or it was mentioned, and then she was caught. And so then the whole time I'm wondering, is this planned? Is this planned? But then I don't want to spoil anything, but
oh no, we've all seen everything.
Okay.
And I've told people, the one person or non-person that's watching, that, you know, if you watch this, or if you haven't watched all of the new season, quit watching.
I have to send people the link to this because I have friends that do watch, and we've had some discussions on Facebook and stuff about some of these things. It's pretty crazy.
The part though, when she was up on the roof, you know, they brought her up on the roof and then they pushed the two girls off at that point. And like, I'm like, maybe this wasn't planned. At that point, I'm like,
right.
Right.
So I'm like, shoot, damn it. I really wanted it to be like, I'll be a setup, but well.
Hey, you thought you captured me, but hey, I had another plan. Look what's up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, well.
We were talking too about the books, because I haven't read either of the books because I found out about the show before I did the book. I'd never heard of Margaret Atwood before, which is a little irritating because I'm like, oh my gosh, she seems so awesome.
She has some really incredible writing. She talks about women's issues in a lot of her writing.
Yeah. Suzanne was saying she's read both. I did not know until this moment there was a sequel. So she was explaining like the difference between June's characters. Have you read the book, Erin?
Sorry, I'm just putting up a notification about this now. No, I haven't. In fact, like you, I never heard of the author or even the book until the show came out. But once the show came out, like it was, I watched the whole first season, and at that point, I'm like, I need to know. I can't wait until season 2. So I started looking up all I can about the book, thinking like the book is going to tell me what happens next. And then I see how the book ends. I'm like, oh,
the book ends at season 1. It lines up with the end of season 1.
Yep, that's it.
And the book, is it my understanding? Go ahead, Suzanne, sorry.
Say the end of the book, you get the impression that Nick is arranged for offered June to be removed to him so that they could go off together. And that's really the impression you get at the very end of the book. I was really surprised that that's not what happened. And when I started watching the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, like, when I read about the book, I didn't read the book. I just kind of like a Cliff's Note version, I guess you could say. But
how you get through college.
Yeah. But what I read said like the book kind of just, it leaves you hanging kind of. You get the impression that she got out or whatever, but you don't know because like they're looking back on it like way into the future or whatever, you know, like this is a history lesson, you know, in school, so to say. So
you really don't. You don't know which way it's going to go. But June was way more passive in the book than she has appeared the way that she's being played in the series.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Seemed a lot more subdued.
I didn't know that either. I wonder how Margaret Atwood feels about that. I mean, obviously she approves of the series, but who presented that idea first, that she was going to be aggressive and, you know, kind of the heroine of everything when she was so passive in the book? I guess I could Google it and see if there was an interview.
Is she like involved with the series?
Yes,
I don't know.
With the series.
Oh, she is. Oh, great.
She is.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
She was been one of the consultants. They have consulted her on a lot of the series. Now she doesn't write it because obviously, you know, gone way past the book now. But if you think back to season 1, Offred didn't really have much power. So June did not. Mm-hmm. So that's really how she was played in that first movie and in the early 80s and in the book when it was first written.
That's interesting.
So this is kind of a departure, but a good one.
Yeah, and
I think so.
Like these 3 episodes, I mean, you get a sense, I think, for just like who or, you know, what June is made up of, basically, you know, as a person. But these 3 episodes, it just, you're like hit in the face with it. Like, you're like, holy shit. Like, she's going to be like this new super heroine, or, I mean, she's going to be the character that she's playing in this series is going to be like a new, like, woman's like idol, basically. It's you can feel the goosebumps, like, because you see it, it's coming, it's going to happen, like, all like that's going to be like the current zeitgeist coming up. It's amazing.
Exactly.
I don't know. I love it. I love how they wrote her this season. I love it. So
I like too how they made it which I think they've kind of done in other, maybe an episode here and there, when that she does have a breaking point. You don't want her to, because I think we can all I think part of the thing that captures you about the series is that you can almost kind of feel yourself in this situation. It's like being able to watch the zombie apocalypse theory, like everyone's got what would you do if we got overtaken by zombies, So you want to believe, because you kind of feel yourself, that nope, she's never going to back down ever. But I'm kind of glad, although it makes me mad at the people in the moment, that they show someone that would probably make that decision in real life, even though you don't want to. I mean, I'm sure you can tell she didn't want to give up who or where the handmaids were. But yeah, if you're faced with your child's life, then
that and the waterboarding. I was really shocked by the waterboarding sequence that they started torturing her with, because that's something that the Geneva Convention says is outlawed, that has a long history, all the way back to like the 1700s. It's thought of as torture anywhere in the world, but it is Gilead, as you said. It's crazy some of the stuff they come up with.
That box, even though it had holes in it, when I put it, I'm like, I can't. I don't even know if I can watch this. I can't do it. So claustrophobic. When
they put the pliers or whatever on your fingernails, I'm like, no.
Thinking that, I was like, no, I can't watch that. I can't watch.
But then the train, oh my God, I didn't expect that. I expected them all to like make it. And then I'm watching.
I expected them all to make it. And then I started thinking, no, they're not going to make it. All of them. Some of them are going to get smushed.
Right.
And I was so shocked that they showed that.
Yeah.
And I was confused by the end. I had to relook up. I know all of them besides June and Janine. No, only June and Janine made it.
Right.
But I didn't know. Yeah. I'm like, okay, bullets and then the train. Okay, got it. I was a little confused there for a second.
Right, because one of the handmaidens got hit by a bullet and went down quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And then the others were rushing for the train, but they were behind Janine and June.
Okay.
That was pretty shocking.
Super frustrated me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, at once.
Yeah.
I think June should have killed Aunt Lydia. Isn't that like the second or third time she's had an opportunity to, and she didn't?
She should have bumped that old lady
so
off.
Mad.
She makes me so mad, Aunt Lydia.
I'm like, poker.
How do you go from being a teacher, being concerned about children in the future, to somebody who is so locked into the rules that that's the only thing that matters?
Yeah,
I mean, they like. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. Okay. But what they kind of showed a little bit of her history. I think it was the last season, maybe, or I believe it's season 2 or season. What are we in? Season 3 or 4? Okay, I think it was last season. But they showed a little bit of Lydia's history and with her as a teacher, and it showed her, really caring for one of her students, and then the mother comes in. You could just tell the mother's just, barely there. She appears to be like just very involved in her social life, possibly drugs and everything like that. And you just see it building up in Lydia, like just all these women who don't deserve these children and don't deserve to be mothers. They're mothers. And here I am, I got nothing. I got no one or whatever, I mean, it's like a female incel in a sense, I guess.
But, right. She
Yeah, you
feels
can
like
see it
this
building.
is her
Yeah.
God-given role. When you add
Mhm.
God to the mix, it becomes a
Oh,
whole
yeah.
different ball game. True
Yep.
believers.
Mm-hmm.
Like
True
we were
believers.
talking about for other things that are happening in real life now, I think when you truly believe, you're doing what you think God is either telling you to do, or it's just his will, whatever. People cross that line of being able to think for themselves and just, nope, this is God's will. I mean, I
Check your
feel
brain
like
at the
you
door.
kind of
That's kind of how I feel
went to
about
that
it now.
place, like, nope, this
Yeah.
is
Yep.
the way, this is the only way. I know
Yeah,
I see reality,
it
but
takes
nope.
Yeah, and it takes, like, I think people, for the most part, when that happens, they're relieved to lose the responsibility of having to make decisions, let
Yes,
alone the
Exactly.
responsibility of consequence and accountability. It's
right.
So to automatically get out of jail free card, because if something
Mhm.
bad happens, you don't have to take responsibility for it. You can
That's
say,
exactly
well, it
right.
was them, it was that, it was this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. I may have
You don't
screwed up.
take
I may have
personal
caused all this
responsibility.
happen, but it was God's will.
God's will, right? God's will.
Man, that makes me think of so many other things right now. Like, I never thought of people, even just in real life, using that.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was just, well, like using it for them not having to take ownership. They, like you said, Suzanne, they have somebody else to blame for
Yeah.
it.
Every time. It's never them.
Interesting. Made me think other thoughts. But I'm also annoyed in that same scene. Not only why didn't she kill Lydia just because, but why didn't she kill her because that guy was out in the woods doing his business? They
She
could
would have
have,
never known.
right. They would have had
They
more
could have
time
taken
for
him
the
out,
train.
too.
And then
They could have
Just
taken
my
lock
husband
Lydia
was
in the
like,
back of a truck. Just
yeah,
shut the door and lock it. And she would have been trapped in there. That guy would have been none the wiser until he came back out of the woods and got in the truck.
I know. That's what my husband kept screaming at the TV. Take the van. Just take the keys and go. Like, he left, and he left the door
Yeah.
open. The driver did.
He did. The
I
keys
don't
were sitting right
understand.
there.
That's part of what irritates me
Well,
with the show sometimes. I'm like, okay, there's been
yes.
so many times where it was impossible for stuff to work out, and you left the door wide open for this. And come on, if we're going to make this tough, like, let's.
Yeah, if it's that difficult for any of these women to go from one house to another without being caught or noticed or whatever, let alone leave the country, who the hell's going to get out of the van like that, full of these women, and just leave everything right there and open?
Right.
And be wearing red,
Yeah.
running wearing red. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
that was the other thing with the whole June is missing thing. They are all wearing a clip in their ear, which they're tracked by. That didn't even
forgot
come into
about
play.
that.
That didn't even come into play this time when they're tracking all those handmaidens.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean,
I was
how
very
many do
confused.
they keep ripping that out? Because I mean, their ears would look like fringe after a while. I mean,
June ripped it
I
out
mean,
the once, but we didn't see her rip it out a second time.
right. Yeah. And
That is
how many times can you
true.
rip it out of one ear, or or two or both ears? I mean,
Right.
where would it go next? I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of a big hole in the story. I never thought about that.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm wondering, why they seem to have like technology for some things, but like whatever happened to computers and the internet, and like why did that and how did that go away? Does it
I'm
explain
not
it in the
100%
book?
sure. No, they never explained the book, but you have to understand the book was written well before
Oh,
the
in the
internet.
80s.
It was written like in the
Yeah.
80s or in the
85.
late 70s. Yeah, something like that. And there just wasn't any such thing. And nobody even dreamed there was going to be any such thing.
True.
Well,
But at the
I mean,
same time, look at China. They repress what gets out, and they have the kind of blocks on their system. So I don't doubt Gilead would do that.
I look at it as, I mean, I was, this kind of just went through my mind today was when I was watching, when she was talking about penicillin, and I just assumed this, that like in regards to things like good actual medicine that works, as well as computers or other technology, I just assumed that that's reserved for like the very high up in command, definitely for men, you know, not for the households or for women or for the children or whatever, or schools even, you know. That's how I just assume it. But yeah, I mean, you still have cell phones. I mean, how does no one have a cell phone? Even North Korea, many of their citizens are there's like CDs and in American TV shows and stuff, you know, snuck into the country every day almost. So how does no one have a cell phone here?
I don't know, because they even have them in prison these days. They also have the internet. They have the internet, and they have cell phones and various things. So how in the heck do they expect us to think that cell phones are gone unless the country just confiscated everybody's and took down the towers, which may well have happened. You got to understand the theology of these people is to control everything. If you look at, say, something like, for example, the Duggars, that's their goal, is to control everything about everybody. They just want to control everybody and conform everybody to their own little tight, their little tight strictures of what they think it should be. And that's what, and it's, I mean, scary to me about Handmaid's Tale, because I could see that happening. The first time I read the book, I said, oh, this has never happened. Now I'm reading that going, really could happen.
I know.
I think we were pretty close a couple times.
That's probably, I think, go ahead, Aaron. I'm so bad at interrupting. Go ahead.
There's a delay too. It's you know, it's hard to get used to. Like when I first started watching it, I thought, no way this could happen. But then by like the end of the first season, especially, and maybe even into the second season, where they started showing like clips of before, like how this came about, and you start seeing that, and you're like, holy shit, this could totally happen. In fact, I think today there are parts of this country where this could happen today.
Easily, you know? I mean, yes.
Yeah. So it's scary.
I thought I read somewhere, I haven't read the book, but I've read about the book, that in the book, and I don't remember this in the series, but that there was some storming of, not like the capital, but the headquarters of Gilead in the book. And that I've seen like people,
I can't remember, but I'll have to go back and reread the book now that you brought that up. I'm not really sure. I know they talked about the bombing of Congress and of the Senate so that the patriarchs could come in and just take over, which is what they did. And I was really afraid for a while that might actually happen. We were seeing some signs of that. I don't care what your politics are. On January the 6th, we saw some of that too. Again, we came very close. When I saw some of the pictures, and it was weird because the day that went down, I was actually at a restaurant having lunch, a late lunch. And I'm sitting there with my cell phone, and you could hear everybody around me has out their cell phone, and they're talking in every language about this.
It's insane.
People from around the world, and we were all just in shock. So I can easily see what they're saying happen in the book and in the series happen. That's what's so frightening about the whole thing.
Yeah, especially when you consider like the group of people who stormed the Capitol and everything were the quote unquote patriots. You know, I mean, it wasn't even like the radical left or whatever who wants to, you know, take away rights or however they want to word it. But I mean, this was people who were like staunch supporters of the Constitution, of the government, of the whatever, and they're the ones who turned on the government and stormed the Capitol.
Right.
You know? Yeah, exactly.
The true believers.
So, exactly. So I mean, it's, you know, it's crazy. I mean, yeah, you convince enough people that anything can happen, I think.
I was jaw dropped that day because, we lived in the greater DC area for 30 years before we moved here to Costa
I
Rica.
remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
My husband worked for the Bureau of Labor Statistics in a building that was right across the street from Union Station that was up there on Capitol Hill. I've walked all over DC. I've been in Capitol many times. For the life of me, I couldn't imagine that happening because of how tight the security is around there.
Right.
But it happened anyway. So when that happened, especially, I started thinking, well, Gilead could easily happen. The security is not as tight as I thought.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take as many people as you think.
No, just
as many willing people. Right. Yeah.
Yep. And you just think about the events of that day. Yeah, they stormed the Capitol and everything, but a police officer, they killed a police officer.
Certainly
That's
did.
how crazy
The ones
shit
that
got
they've
in this
been
country.
Fighting that, no, you put a police officer's life is higher, and you don't talk about a police officer, and you don't, and they killed one. They killed someone who was a police officer.
Yep.
How
It's
unbelievable.
I
don't get what they're not getting.
I mean, I'm probably guilty of this myself. Don't get me wrong, but it's like the discussion about it afterwards and on the media, on TV, just even like with people, where's the outrage about this? Because I mean, if this were, I hate to say it, but I mean, if this officer were killed by a criminal, or let alone by a black person or whatever, oh my God, they would still be headline news today probably. So
of course it would be.
Yeah, it just there was maybe some outrage in like the first couple days, but that's it.
Then it faded. And that's what's scary to me too about the series, because like I said, I could easily see. I mean, look at June in the series, in the flashbacks where they're showing her, working her job, going about her life in a very passive fashion and just not thinking about politics and then discovering that she's not getting paid and has to leave the building. I mean, that's the problem with being asleep.
She thought her mom was
That's
crazy.
Probably right when I would have gotten killed. Right then. I'm sorry, you're telling me what? And then the book would have been over.
I probably would have been no story. Fighting with them, and they wouldn't have liked that too much. I probably wouldn't have liked it. Yeah, I would hit them with my purse.
I definitely would be killed for my mouth. I'm sure my parents would absolutely agree. Who is saying that it's the one who eats pineapple on her pizza? You only watch the first season because you lost interest because you eat pineapple on your pizza.
How did you lose interest? How? What?
How?
If anything, I was trying to make myself not want to watch it. I think my daughter was I know she was still infant, maybe around 6 months or something like that when I first started watching this. And she's my second child. So watching that first episode when they're being captured, I'm like, oh, I cannot watch this. Like, I was starting to feel depressed, and I'm like, nope. And here I am at season 4.
Definitely do that to you. It's been highly triggering for me, having come out of Quiverful, almost 20 years, coming out of that and watching this. It is just incredible sometimes. And it's gotten better. I've gotten better about not triggering, but sometimes those things, you just never know. Somebody the other day sent me a clip of some holy laughter in church and some dancing, and I got triggered real bad.
Oh, wow.
And so those things happen. This is one of those series that's really uncomfortable to watch, but it should be uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the kind of uncomfortableness that really everyone needs to see and feel, not experience necessarily, but feel. So hopefully they don't experience, or I don't know, just
or see the slippery slope that is all out
exactly.
hating a type of people. Like I thought,
Right.
I mean, the Holocaust wasn't that long ago. My grandfather was in World War II, and I'm in my 40s. So I just like hating one group of people, so not disagreeing with, but hating a
yes.
group of
Right.
people and demanding that they change how they think. I don't know. I don't understand why that hasn't clicked for some people in the
I don't
past
get it.
few years. Like, you're
I don't
asking to
get
build a wall, but you're the same people who cheered when the wall went down in Germany. Like, I remember that. I was a kid.
There's so
I
many
don't
of those
understand
things that I
what you
just
don't
don't
get.
get. You know, I lived through the civil rights movement and
Yeah.
thought that we were post racism, and only to be horribly surprised that we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think every white person in America, for the most part, middle class white person, that thought for a period of time there that racism was like, at least not in our past, but headed there, But then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, no, not
Like, oh,
even.
no. And you don't
Yep.
even, and the thing is, it comes up and bites you in the ass in the weirdest ways.
Mhm.
During the Chauvin trial, I found out one of my closest friends is racist, and I was incredibly shocked. It really it dented the friendship. And we're still talking about it, but yeah, it was a shock. One thing the book had that the series doesn't have is Serena Joy was a lot older, like 65, 70 years old.
Oh, really?
Old and gray, yes.
Oh.
I
And
guess
she
that
had
would make
been,
more sense for not being able to have a baby.
That's true, but she was also had been a televangelist in the book before Gilead came along.
So before Gilead, in the book, she was kind of successful in a sense in her own right, or
Successful
known,
in
I
her
guess.
own right. She had a television show and would preach and pray for people and various things, just like any televangelist show you see on TV today. So that was a departure to make her younger. What do you think about her being pregnant now? Because that kind of blew my mind.
Who
I
was
have
the father?
a theory.
Is it the commander? I mean,
I call him the Canada guy because I don't know if they've ever said his name.
That's my theory, the Canada guy.
Okay.
Like, he gave her cigarettes. I'm sure they've spent some alone time that we just don't see, especially when he's been coming to her cell now to discuss things with her. I'm like, she's walking up on him in a way that you wouldn't walk on up to someone that you haven't been intimate with, I'm like,
that's what I was thinking. There's some intimacy you can see there.
And he seems to be really invested in like what pleas she takes or whether she gets, whether
how to get out of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, that seems kind of odd for a police authority, whatever he is. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. But maybe it's like a comfort level with her because it's someone still in a seemingly powerful position. So maybe she's kind of, I don't know much about abuse and relationships, but from what I understand, it's not like you just leave somebody most of the time and you just have more awareness and instantly start dating the right person. Like it's a
process. It's a process.
Yeah.
So
you usually make the same mistake over and over again before you start picking, noticing the red flags and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Very true. Unless you're like, no, I'm not going to have like that ever again.
Right. Yeah. And that does happen too.
I wonder though too, because I didn't know that they had made her like a televangelist in the book, for example. But in the TV, in the series, obviously we know that I don't think they really specify what it is she is or what she does, but they do present her to be as like this public figure that, she's known. It's, and yeah, like you point out, maybe she sees she's attracted to like, guys in power or whatever. And I just,
Right.
I think that could be her downfall, because I think she's the one who wants to be the one in power, but she keeps picking the guys that are in power. So it's always going to be like a power struggle for her, I think, in the relationship.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, some women want to be, the one in charge or the one leading the charge, whatever, in a relationship. And,
Yeah.
and I think she's one of them. So she just doesn't realize it.
Yeah, exactly. And she's in Gilead, where you can get your finger cut off for reading, which is what happened to her.
Yep.
I didn't think that was going to happen either.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure they were going to go through with it. And I think it's interesting they're telling her to pursue this abuse dynamic. I don't know how that's going to play out in court, or how she's going to be able to pull that one off.
I don't see her.
I think she still loves him.
With that, and I don't see her easily admitting she's a victim. I think that's going to be difficult for her. So,
too prideful, too strong,
Yeah. Like, I'm not
a victim.
Like Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Right. Even when she burned the house down and went and lived with her mother for a while, she wouldn't admit she was a victim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That beautiful house.
It was.
I mean, all of those homes, I'm just like, oh, wow, that is really cool.
Right.
I read too, I've been, again, I won't read the book, but I'll read things about the book. But I've been reading about the symbolism in the Handmaid's Tale, or like things that Atwood put in to represent different periods in history. And one was the artwork on the walls in their home that they in the series, well, in the book also, that they made them replicas of famous paintings to resemble when the Nazis stole art and put it in their homes during World War II. So
that was the problem then. They're still finding artwork.
I thought that was interesting that she kind of, I don't want to say gave a nod to something that came before us in history, but
I like it's like a comparison, even like she's comparing Gilead to Nazi Germany. I don't. It's interesting.
It is, and Nazi Germany had a policy of having as many blonde white babies as possible.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, they really try to live out that policy that they have. Lord. Well, I don't know what is going to happen next. I think I saw on Twitter today, on like the Handmaid's Tale Twitter on Hulu. I can't remember what it was. I'll be in a little bit. What did they say? Someone commented like, I cannot believe you guys did what you did with was Aunt Lydia or something. And the show replied back like, you have no idea. And I'm just like, what else are you going to do? What? I don't know. Whenever I see stuff happen, I'm like, oh yeah, why didn't I see that coming? But I never see it coming.
I don't see it much either myself, except that today I was looking at the third episode, and I was looking at Aunt Lydia when they were all in the truck going to where the train near where the train was. I was looking at her, I was thinking, she looks awful old and frail. Why doesn't Alfred just push her over? And next thing I know, June's just pushing her over and taking the taser and handing it off and running. I don't know why she didn't kill her or lock her up or something.
I just don't get it. And I feel like there was one other time where she had the opportunity and there weren't like guards around or anywhere nearby because I think they were dead or whatever, that she had an opportunity to kill Aunt Lydia. And she didn't because morals. I'm like, okay, this is when you're going to choose morals when you could actually escape. I don't know about that.
I don't think I don't think it's morals that are stopping her, at least not anymore. I think it's personal. When they killed the guy, that wasn't personal to June, but she knew it was personal to her. So she's like, here, you do you. But when it comes to Lydia, that's personal to her. And I think for her, she knows, or she thinks anyways, whatever, that killing her just ends it. And maybe Lydia gets off easy, maybe she doesn't, but she doesn't know. She doesn't get to see the pain inflicted or the turmoil that inflicted. Keeping her alive and keep messing with her like she did, with the comments she made about Janine and everything, that hurts her. And she's enjoying like hurting her because of how personal it is now. I think that's
torturing her.
Yeah,
I think that's why right now, anyways. I mean, I think it was morals before, but I think she's shit out of morals right now over this crap,
Right.
So
I think so. I think once she killed the commander in the House of Prostitution, that kind of ended the morals. I was really shocked that they said that.
Or was he?
No, she killed him.
Yeah. Was it the president he killed?
He wasn't a president. He was a commander, but he was a higher level commander than Fred.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, he was.
I can't remember what his name was. Winslow, maybe. But he was a lot higher. You remember he was sort of giving off gay vibes. He was rubbing up on Fred a couple times.
Yes.
It was just really strange. The whole thing was strange. He turns up at Jezebel's. It's like this guy swings every which way. It was kind of confusing there for a few minutes. But it was, to me, the shocker in episode 2 was when they started saying, oh, yeah, they investigated that and they found out that somebody killed him and did away with his body. It was like, whoa, I'm shocked because
how do they know that stuff, though? Because
I don't
know.
Quite. Maybe intel, maybe surveillance cameras. I don't know.
But they've never shown that they've had surveillance. And that's one thing that annoys me too. Even, maybe all the internet, there's no possibility to have it, but they still have electricity some places. Yeah. So why couldn't they run a security?
They could. If you can get a Ring
localized
doorbell anywhere in the world, why not have that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, why they have? I mean, maybe they do, but it's just not revealed yet, or I don't know. But yeah, you're right, because think about how paranoid they are. They have the organization of the eye. Yeah. There's one in like every other home or whatever the case may be, and they are keeping the whole citizenship or whatever kind of ignorant about technology and education, really, for that matter. So they have people pretty much too ignorant to pick up on it, and they're paranoid enough to want it. So that's strange that they're not utilizing something, or maybe they are. We just don't know it. I don't know, but it's strange.
It is strange.
I never thought about that.
I didn't know if it was something like that can't exist with the people that they took out. Maybe there's not enough, computer engineers or whatever to be able to have it.
It's true. They took out a lot of those guys.
However, again, it's kind of like the electricity thing. Either everything's gone or nothing's gone, because why are some things still available and why aren't other things? I've thought this way too much.
It's a mystery. They've never explained it.
I mean, and I think that they show, or they at least explain the map of Gilead, so you have an idea of how big it is, I guess. But I'm curious, what the population is too, because I mean, if there's a really small population, then to have an infrastructure like that, it's going to be very difficult. Like both the people to run it, to create it, let alone
Yeah.
the numbers to run it and create it. But yeah, so I'm curious.
And then you keep killing off your people who you have solely enslaved to reproduce, because supposedly they're the only ones that can reproduce, but yet you're killing them. And that's what I thought was kind of cool. This last season too, is that Commander Lawrence, explaining to June, like, this isn't about religion or whatever. This is, or the kids. That's what it was. She didn't think they would hurt Hannah because that's the kid. That's the whole, you brainwash them. This is kind of the whole point, right? That you have a bunch of kids who only believe what you believe. And he's like, it's not about the kids. It's about power. I thought it was cool that they kind of, not necessarily flipped it like that, but kind of explained that in a deeper
this
way.
Isn't righteous. Yeah, this isn't righteous. That's just a means to an end, basically. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Commander Lawrence is so interesting because he was the architect of Gilead, and here he is doing all the subversive stuff. I mean, how do you square that in your mind?
I hate his character.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, or I don't know if it's the actor that plays him, but or if it's the character, but he just is kind of like sarcastic and witty and kind of a jerk, but yet caring at moments, but then very much not. I thought he was going to die when they put him on that barber chair.
I did too.
I expected to see like a neck cut or something like. Yeah, exactly.
I was shocked that he wasn't.
The pig and Mrs. I really thought that was all foreshadowing. They were going to cut his throat.
Right. I thought they were just trying to be nice to him, if you will, by making him believe he wasn't being killed, so he would like chill out and relax. Please go in.
He wouldn't be combative. Yeah.
Stop for a moment. I can see you. It's a glass door. There's nothing there. Okay, just sit in there. I'll be in maybe like 5 minutes, okay? I understand. I can see you right there. Okay. Nobody goes to bed when they're supposed to. Well, I guess I kind of need to wrap it up. But thank you guys so much.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you for inviting me too.
I love you guys.
This has been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Bye.
All right. You guys have a good night and thank you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Suzanne.